hey there. Yeah, appreciate you getting the door for me. You know, it's not like I don't have my hands full. Okay. I'm sorry. That was a grumpy way to, you know, greet you this morning. But I went to a dark place. I went to a dark place this morning and, well, at the post office. I went to the post office this morning. I don't love going to the post office. It's fraught with potential frustration and, you know, whatever. I had to go there because I was waiting on this package and it had been a long time. So I finally looked up the tracking number and it said a week ago they tried to deliver it. And I don't know, couldn't, brought it back. I never got any notification, no tag on my door, no email, no text, nothing. It was just sitting there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I was home because I'm not saying that they lied about it, but something doesn't add up. Anyway, so I was forced against my will to go all the way down to get my own package that I paid to have shipped to me. Anyway, you're probably wondering what's inside of it. Well, I think I'll set it on this table over here and we'll open it up and take a look. And super glad to have you here. Why don't you, nope, I got it. You just stay there. I can handle it. Okay, well, what this is, we'll open it up together. I know that I said that I wasn't going to, I don't know, do much body work on Dusty over here. And that is true. I am not going to do much. But there's a certain, and we'll walk over and look at them as a reminder, there's a certain number of things that I can't ignore. Like I have to do it. So, see if I can get this out of here. Maybe I just cut the box. How about that? I just don't want to, you know, cause damage. I mean, I shouldn't, but. Wow. This is a fail. Okay. All right, well, there you go. There's the magic things. So, as you can probably see just by looking at them, these are cab corners. Yeah, imagine that. So, these are what I really wanted right here. Let me cut the tape. Okay, so let's walk over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. These are for, let's kind of zoom out here, the side skirts. As you can see, just the missing, well, my side steps are also in bad shape, but I got to stand on these, and I don't know how long things like this will be available unless you just make it yourself. So I bought replacement, essentially, side, I don't know, what are they? They hide the frame rail? I don't know what they are. I'm also looking for some side steps in better shape because you step on them, you know? I just want them in good shape. It's not going to affect the overall, you know, patina of the truck. That will not be ruined. I can paint these so that you don't really notice. The other parts, I just feel like, you know, I'm getting into the weeds on this, but, you know, I love this truck and I want to make it roadworthy. So as you can see down here, we have like no support. I mean, look at this. It's just, it's just gone. Just not there. And then when you look on the inside, you can see through it. I mean, it's just gone. So this here is kind of hidden behind the box anyway. I wanted to not only seal up the cab, and this can be cut, you know, however it works. Not only to seal up the cab, but also give it some structure so it's not flip-flopping, so I can get these doors to close properly, so I can kind of true up the cab a little bit. Again, I'm not going to paint it. I'm not doing anything like that. I just want it so when I close the doors, they latch properly, the cab doesn't weeble wobble, which of course would cause it to weaken further. And yeah, I'm just trying to make it good. It's not restoring it, but kind of bringing it back around so that it can be, you know, functionally used again. That's the plan. So I spent way too much money on these pieces, but they're going to save me a lot of time in making them myself, since I don't do metal work, you know. And also, I can put these in myself, and it's not going to be the end of the world if it's not concourse, you know, because that's not what this truck is. So, but it'll be good. It just won't be, you know, it won't be perfect, but it'll be perfectly imperfect. Kind of like you. So, and me, I don't exempt myself from that. Anyway, that is not what we're doing this week. This week, we are working on a 1947 Dodge, well, is it a Deluxe? Essentially, in 47, I believe they built this from, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, like 45 or 46 to 50. 48, or the 49 was basically still a 48. You know, there was a little war going on at that time. But this was the top of the line Dodge trim level in the day. So it's got the fluid drive. You can tell because they printed it on the bumper. Transmission. It's got suicide doors. I mean, look at this.
It sounds like talking with someone might help. National Suicide
Oh no.
Free and confidential emotional support. Would you like me to call them for you?
No, thank you. I'm fine.
Okay, I won't call. Let me know if there's something else you need.
Okay. Apparently, my watch thought I was suicidal. I mean, I did go to the post office today against my will, but it didn't make me want to kill myself. So it's nice to know, your technology is looking out for you. Okay. Anyway, so this is the top trim level. I mean, we've got wood grain. We've got, I don't know if this upholstery is original, but I mean, look at this. Dodge fluid drive. This fancy clock. These, I mean, check this out. It's just something else. So, this was it for Dodge. This was if you wanted what they had to offer, this is what you got. So, it is powered by the infamous 230 flathead straight six motor. Same motor that came out of Dusty, essentially, and I can't see anything. There's no seeing. Let's go get a flashlight. Yeah, you can just look at the Dodge while I go get a flashlight. So it came in because it's not running, and it was running. The owner's had it a couple years, and he believes it to be an ignition problem. I can see that somebody's replaced the coil, but I don't know. My job here is to start from the beginning. Do we have spark? Are the things doing the things, So that's my job. If we can get this thing fired off and running, my mission is complete on this. So it apparently spent 6 months at the last repair shop that kept saying they didn't have time to get to it, which is that's a sad state. If you don't want to do it, just say, I don't want to do it. Come get your car. I'm sorry, I don't want to do it. Say, I'll look at it, but no guarantees. Something, anything, but don't let it sit at your shop for 6 months not doing anything to it. That's just disrespectful. So, I'm going to dive into that this week, and hopefully we can either get it running or get some parts coming to be able to get it running. So, and we're probably going to do some other things. I don't know. It's early. All I know is I'm going to do this, and then we'll go from there, see what happens. All right, super glad you're here. I'm going to roll that thing over here to my workstation, and I don't know, let's start fishing around. Fishing in the dark, you and me. That's not what that means. Oh, well, now I'm embarrassed about that. Okay, let's pretend that I never said that. Okay, well, and no thank you for not helping me move this 5,000-pound car, it probably doesn't even weigh that much. It feels like it weighs a lot, and these casters are not always very friendly. All right, well, I've got the hood open here, and I did put the battery on a charger last night because I didn't want any of my problems or issues be related to not having a good battery. So, on these 6-volt systems, if you did not know, excuse me, it's called, it was wired, what am I trying to say? Positive ground. So the positive side of the battery is grounded to the block to create the circuit, i.e. circle of power. You have to have a circle of power. So on a 6-volt system, that is how it is wired up. It just is a little backwards, counterintuitive. I'm looking at the cables. They don't look bad. They look okay. It looks like he replaced the coil. This boot looks a little iffy, but it's making connections, so we won't worry about that. What else? Yeah, I guess we just kind of need to take a look. Let me see. So kind of what I like to do first, if I've talked to someone or if I bought a car and I'm just looking at it, I look for new parts on it, because a lot of times your issues, well, I'm not saying they can come from new parts, but if it was working and then it's not working, I don't know, we can look at a new part and see if maybe it's working or not. So I want to test this coil. But first of all, I'm going to make a slight observation here. So this is the positive side of the coil, and I believe on this car that should be the wire that goes to the distributor should be wired to the positive side, and here is wired to the negative side. So I'm going to switch that because I believe that would be the right way to do it. And then we're going to press the starter button and kind of see what noise it makes or what noise it doesn't make. And then if it doesn't start, I'll just start testing things. We're just testing for spark first. We need to know that spark plugs are getting it. But let me swap this over and just see if, I mean, it can't be that easy, right? It just can't be. But we're going to do that. Let me grab a... Okay, the battery's still hooked up, so I'm just going to try to do this without, causing the circle of power to close on itself entirely here. Loosen that one up. I know I'm going to drop these little tiny washers. I'll never find them again. They'll be gone forever. It's typically what happens. Okay, take that off of there. I'm going to try. Shouldn't matter anyway, but come on, fella. How many threads are you gonna hold on there? There you go. There you go. Hold on. There you go. Okay, which makes more sense because this was really stretched far. And it shouldn't have been, because this seems like it's the original mounting location. Okay, let's stick you over here. Those old cars are so cool. It's just another era. You know, this whole era of automotive history is so interesting in the US. I'm sure it's the same in Europe and other places, but you know, the war kind of ramped up for the US in 48. So this is a 47. Not much changed, if anything, between 47 and 50 at least, or at least the early 50s in car design. They were pretty much focused on building war machines and not so much on, you know, car technologies. So it was kind of like there was a pause, you know. Pretty sure anything that was a 49, you know, model year car was the exact same car as a 48. It was, there's zero difference in that time period. So, okay. Well, I just did this. Let's see if it starts. Okay. Now this has got the fluid drive and still a clutch pedal. Okay. Oh, it's just so weird. It's so weird to be in here. All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and push the clutch in, pull the throttle out a little bit. I think that would be considered park. See what happens. Okay. I don't know. It's turning over. Oh, okay. Like it. Is that the joke? All right. So, it's not starting at all. I wonder if I'm getting any oil pressure. Let me just see. Okay. Isn't this dash cool? Okay. This is the radio, I guess. I mean, I don't know. That's just something else. All right. So, obviously didn't fix anything. So what I'm going to do, oh, look at that. That is fuel. Okay, so it's getting fuel. I don't know where it's leaking from. But that leak should not be preventing it from starting. So I'm going to pull one of these spark plugs and see if that will, see if I get spark when I crank it over. Okay, I have got a spark plug out and just kind of resting on the block. And I'm gonna jump in and crank it over. If you can just come over here and take a look, let me know if it's sparking. That'll eliminate that. Is it getting spark even? If it's not getting spark, then we can trace it back from there. You know, it's not that hard. It's just electricity, right? All right, let me look. Ready? Let her rip. Is it sparking? Dang it. No spark. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to skip over the distributor, and I'm going to go to the coil. I'm going to check for spark there. So if I have no spark at the spark plug, but I have spark at the coil, well, then we'll look at the distributor. But if I have no spark at the coil, well, there's no sense in looking at the distributor yet. We have to figure out why the coil's not getting spark. So, right. Let's, I do smell gas. Do smell gas. Oh, wow. That's weird. I think the choke was pulled or something. That's just weird. Okay. I'm going to probably open the other side there so I can get some more light on the subject. You hang out. I'm going to just start using the voltmeter on things and testing for spark. And I'll bring you in here just as soon as, you know, I find something, I guess. Yeah, well, it's, you know, fueling is not a problem. We have that, so. All right, let me get after it here. How do you open this other side? I just don't know. It's already loose. No. This makes perfect sense. You have the latch for this side on the passenger side. Genius. Another try. So I took the cap off of the distributor and I cranked it over and tested to see if I even had any spark in the distributor, and I didn't. So I spent some time cleaning up the contacts, also cleaning under the cap. There was just like, well, kind of rust. You know, condensation can sometimes just leave that film. So I just cleaned it up. I used some contact cleaner. Let's see, it's, well, really, it's just an electric parts cleaner. And then I dried it with air and tested it again, and then I had a really good spark. So, and then I also double checked this coil just to make sure it was a 6-volt coil, which it is. So it's wired up correctly, it's the right coil. Now I have spark at the distributor. So I'm gonna crank it over again. I should pull a plug again to see if I'm getting spark there, but I'm just gonna crank it to see if it tries to fire. And then if not, I'll pull another plug and just see if my spark is getting from my distributor up to the spark plug. So let's give it another try. Key on. Okay, well, you heard it try to fire. You probably heard it try to fire. It's the first time. It didn't start, but it did try to fire. So, I know. So it means we're headed somewhere. Well, that was my lovely assistant, who I also happen to be married to. So, we're fixing to come a storm tonight. So we're, not doing anything different. We're not making a rush to the store for toilet paper, or I don't know, what are some of the things milk? We're not, we're not panicking. It'll be stormy, and then in a day or two, it'll be fine. So calm down. We don't need to panic. So the car came in because it had ignition problems. It wasn't firing. We just heard it try. But as I was explaining to my wife, I don't know that I got to come up with a name. Major? Is this a Major? I don't know Major well enough. How much choke does he want? How much throttle does he want? What kind of, how do I hold my tongue in my mouth? Is there his magic word? I don't know. But we'll figure out what he wants. I'm going to let it sit here a minute because I kind of smell gas and I feel like, well, maybe I flooded it. And then I'll try to crank it again and see if I can't get it to fire. But I mean, essentially, the reason that it came in was that it wouldn't fire, and now I just heard it. So we'll see if we can actually turn that fire into running, and then I guess we'll put a pin in it. I don't know. Maybe after the storm passes, we'll take it up and down the road for a minute, see how it feels. That would be fun. As you can see, I woke up to a winter wonderland. My plan today is still to get this running. Last night, well, we heard it kind of try, but I had to kind of shut it down. I had some other things to do, and also, I don't know, I guess I probably said this yesterday. I don't know what Major wants. I'm calling him Major. It might irritate you. I don't care. I'm in charge of naming. So until you're in charge of naming, that's how it's gonna go. Okay. How much choke, how much throttle, how much everything. I feel like yesterday you got flooded because I was just kind of playing around. So as you can see, the battery's charged. And if you didn't know, and I might have said this too, I don't know, a lot has transpired since the last time I talked to you, even though it seems like just a moment. But when you're charging a battery, you gotta also make sure you have a charger that's good for 6 volts, but you hook the negative to the positive side and the positive to the negative side. You know, that's just how 6-volt systems work. I did double check, make sure that was a 6-volt coil. I took it out and looked at it, it's labeled 6-volt. I just, you know, it's all trust but verify. That's what they say. So, but I am going to just kind of walk over here and, I mean, I hear the wind, it's like crazy. You can see. Like, what is going on back here? Well, it kind of looks like I've got a big drift. I'm just gonna let it keep snowing. Cars are people too. We're gonna let it just keep snowing and blowing. And then maybe later today I'll go out and plow some snow. I think that seems like a good idea. Okay. The outside stays outside. The inside stays inside. Fluid drive. Isn't that amazing? I mean, they just advertised it on the bumper. 1947, an old Minnesota plate. Third brake light. Who knew that Dodge invented the third brake light? We thought it happened in the 80s. No, sure didn't. Happened in the 40s. Think you're so smart. Suicide doors. Sorry, I'm just gonna go ahead and nerd out. Ooh, I could use those hubcaps. But, you know, they're not mine. I have one or two just like it that I got with Dusty, but they're not as nice looking. So, all right, well, feast your eyes on a massive 230 cubic inch engine, and we're gonna see if we can hear it run today. I may back it up over to the door where I have an exhaust hole, just in case I get it running, I can idle it, run the exhaust outside into the blizzard. It's a blizzard out there, and then go from there. So you grab yourself some, you know, comfy clothes, maybe some hot beverage, and maybe I'll put on a fire in my fireplace, and we'll just go to town. It'll be great. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing cranked over. All right, I'm gonna give it just a little choke. I don't really know what it wants, so let me try this. Whoops, key on. Man, we almost got it barked off, but not yet. All right. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Oh, a flashlight. Where did my flashlight go? Oh, it's over here. Okay. I don't know if you can see down in there at all. I'm going to open this up. Golly, yeah, we're getting a lot of fuel. There's like fuel sloshing around in the bottom of that. I don't know why. I'm going to double check I'm getting spark again. We obviously got it to fire off one time. So let me double check that. I have a feeling I'm flooding it when I go to start it. You saw how much fuel squirted up when you gave it throttle, or when I gave it throttle. You didn't give it anything. That was me. So I'm kind of thinking that's what's happening. Because when it did fire off before, it had been sitting for a while and I didn't do anything to it. Oh, look at that. Interesting. I wonder how you know what the water temperature is in this vehicle. Okay, well, we'll just leave that there. Okay, let me pull a plug and see if we got spark, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, let's try this again. I cleaned out, I was getting no spark up at the spark plugs again. So I opened up the cap and cranked it, and I was also getting no spark in the distributor. However, I'm getting power to it. So I went back in and cleaned the contacts, all little grounding wires, and I loosened the fasteners and tightened them again. Just try to get the juices flowing in there. There seems to be like just a light sheen of rust in there, like moisture got in. So I'm kind of, that's where my mind is going on it. So now I'm getting spark again. So we're gonna go ahead and see if it'll fire off. I'm not gonna do anything to the, give it any fuel or anything like that. We'll just see what happens. Yep, my clip came off. There you go. Try that again. Interesting. I was close. Man, this thing's getting overfueled somehow. I do not know what's happening over there, but it is not good. I'm not giving it any fuel at all, but it is dripping fuel over here. Look at that. It's just wet, wet, wet. It almost wanted to go again. Now I'm looking at the fueling system and thinking I have two problems with this motor. I am going to verify by popping a plug off, making sure I'm getting spark to the plug. As long as I know I'm getting spark to the plug, then we can move on to why that's happening. I feel like it wants to start, but something's preventing it. Okay, let's see if I can get anything happening. Oops, off my thing over there. All right, let's try this. Well, let me turn this light off so I can see better. Whoa, what just happened there? And why is it going in reverse? Oh, I am getting spark there, by the way. But I'm not 100% sure why this thing is moving. So, that was as close as it came to starting. All right. Let's see where neutral is with this thing. Okay, that's definitely a neutral sort of thing. Well, this all seems neutral. Honestly, I don't really know how this fluid drive works. It would probably be helpful if I knew that. It's rolling really free. But I know the fluid drive. Oh, hi. I didn't know you were right there. So, I know the fluid drive, from what I've read, was advertised as there's no metal-to-metal contact for making the rear wheels turn. So is that a hydraulic style? I don't know. All I know is when this almost started, it started moving backwards. And that's not okay. So let's set the parking brake and give it another try. I may dispense with the start thing so I can be behind the wheel. It really wanted to go. I don't know why. But I was getting spark here at this boot. So, let's go ahead and get behind the wheel and try it. Okay. Let's roll down the window. All right. Try it again. What? that? Look at that. We've got, sorry for yelling in your ear. I was just super excited. We've got oil pressure. We've got amperages that's doing the things. Like a sewing machine. All right, I'm gonna try to let out the clutch. It's not trying to move. That's the main thing. I don't want it to move. What? This thing is so smooth. Check this out. You can see it. Got the gauges. Oil pressure. So it looks like at the aftermarket, that's why probably the factory temp gauge isn't working. There's an aftermarket one in there. Listen to this thing. This thing is like, wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, sure. Of course it was gonna start. Whatevs. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. It started, you know. Hey, if you're excited, don't hide your excitement. It's not worth it. This is great. This is great. I just love it. And the downside is that we can't, I just love this dash. The downside is that we can't tootle it around, see how it actually runs under power. Yeah, I kind of want to put it in gear and back it up to the door. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at that. I would bet that's reverse. Oh. So smooth. Whoops. Actually, I can't see nothing. This is awesome. Okay, so we're gonna put it. What a steering wheel. Okay, so then neutral again. Look at that. So the reason it moved before is that it was in neutral, or it was in reverse. That is awesome. So these fluid drives still utilizes the clutch pedal. You put it in gear and then you let out the clutch, but there's no clutch. It's some sort of fluid drive. All right, let me take the throttle down. It's idling amazing. Okay, it's also getting hazy in here. Check the temp gauge. Well, I guess we can close the hood on this one. See what I did there? Close the hood on it. I feel like I need to be wearing period clothing, you know, when I'm standing next to old Major here. He's a major in many ways, you know, pre-war, but pretty close to it. Also, he's a major vehicle, like top of the line in 1947. If you were looking for a Dodge, this is the one you wanted. It probably isn't the one you ended up buying because, you know, you couldn't afford it. So, well, I would call that a success. I think the owner is going to be super happy that his car is running. Obviously, I can't take it up and down the road to just make sure that everything is working the way it should. It's running, it's idling, it's not overheating. And yeah, so I guess we're just gonna get to just have them sit around the shop until the snow melts, which is probably gonna be next week because it's warming right back up again. So this has been a little bit of a shorter episode, but I think we're gonna just call it quits this week. Super cool. If we get a chance to get this out on the road and just to get some perspective on it outside and all of that, you'll probably see that in an upcoming visit. I hope you do. So anyway, I'm going to put on a breather because, you know, old Major here's well, he's not a smoker, but I don't like to breathe what he's putting out. Let's just put it that way. A lot like some of your friends that you know. Just don't breathe. Well, let's go relax a minute. Well, truth be told, it's a snow day today, so the kids aren't in school. My wife is home, I'm home, so I think I'm gonna go out and play in the snow, you know? Why not? It's March, it's probably the last snow that we're gonna have of the year. It's supposed to be melted in a few days. You wouldn't know it looking at it, but it will. So I think we'll call this a win. That car has been sitting in someone else's shop for 6 months. 6 months. I don't understand that. I just don't understand it. All this guy wants is to be able to drive his Dodge. And I don't know. I don't know the story, how it can be sitting there for 6 months when you saw what I did. Any mechanic with basic knowledge could have done it. Essentially, we checked for power, we traced it to where it wasn't. In this case, really the distributor, we observed kind of not goodishness going on in there. Cleaned the contacts, sprayed it out with a cleaner, dried it out, we did that a couple of times. You know, it worked and then it didn't. But I hadn't gone through the whole thing. I went through in the distributor and loosened all of the little fasteners for the ground straps and all of those types of things, and tightened them back up again just to try to make sure we had a good contact on everything. If there's a little rust in there, then it can affect everything. So then once we had spark, we had fuel, obviously. Something's going on with that bowl. But it ran flawlessly once it was running. So I might mention it to the owner, and it might be back for that. I don't know, but it's running fine as it is. So yeah, it's good. These cars need to be driven. All old cars need, you know, I appreciate museums as much as the next guy. You can't, I mean, there's not enough people to drive all the cars. And then you've got people with a ton of collector cars. Well, also that person doesn't have time to drive all of the cars all the time. But you really need to get these things out regularly and exercise them, you know? They stiffen up. They start leaking. They start not loving to run. And the more you can get them out and drive them, the better it is. And it's a rule. It's a true thing. So anyway, I hope you've had a good week. Next week, we'll probably be diving back in on Old Blue, probably. We might have another project in the shop too, see what the weather does. Kind of tamps down the whole bring things to the shop when you've got, you know, a foot of snow on the ground. But if it goes away, we'll probably get some more stuff in here. I can go into Old Blue next time, but essentially, I need to get him running because the owner wants to drive him out of here. So that wasn't on the list, but it makes sense. So we'll put the parking brake in, get him running, and yeah, if you come back and hang out in the shop next time, that's probably what we're gonna be doing. So drive your cars, work on your cars, and if you don't have a car, well, go buy one. Or, you know, help your friend work on his or something. You know, whatever. Enjoy life and coffee and everything else. We'll see you next week.